there.
Yeah, Craig, that's exactly right. I'm here with our photojournalist, Kelsey Jacobson. We're here near Dave Peel Park. So Emma's on the square. We are to the other side of the Benton County Courthouse. I want to step out of the way and show you our vantage point here. What I want to direct your attention to is all of the law enforcement presence that is just waiting for when they're needed. You can see the Benton County admin building in the background. We pulled up here maybe 10-15 minutes ago. If you were watching our newscast earlier, you know we were in Fayetteville, where it was a much different picture tonight, a very peaceful protest. Not like what we're seeing here right now. When we pulled up 10-15 minutes ago, there was immediately a lot of running. We had heard kind of a loud bang. We now understand that that was more tear gas being dispersed. But what's more interesting too, and I'll have Kelsey kind of follow me this way. We're walking into a parking lot just so I can kind of show you another vantage point. Watch out for that step, Kels. I'm gonna have Kelsey kind of stand right here and turn you this way just so you can see another vantage point of the square. Stay right there. And you can see all of those police officers right there with their helmets. And what's interesting is as we were pulling up here, we saw more people showing up. As we were walking up, so were other people. They were getting out of their cars, and some of the folks we talked to, I asked, "Are you leaving?" And we were told no. We are just hearing now from officers. You can see a firework was just, we just saw a firework explode, but you can now hear, I think it's coming from this Bentonville police car right now. They are announcing if you do not leave the square right now, you could be arrested. That's what we just heard. So that is what we just heard right now, that if you do not leave the square, you can be arrested. So it doesn't really look like a lot of people are moving after that announcement. You can see some smoke in the distance. We believe that may have been from either the firework or from some of the tear gas that was put out a little bit earlier. As you can see from where Kelsey is looking, if you want to kind of pan to the right a little bit, Kelsey, you can still see a huge law enforcement presence. That is where the front steps are that Emma has been talking about all evening. So this is our different vantage point, just to kind of give you a big picture. And then one more thing, you know what, we're going to send things back to Craig.
Oh, no, you're doing great, Jamie. We'll continue to get updates from you.
Well, you know, Craig, it's almost a little hard to hear you over all of the revving you're hearing in the background. A lot of cars, a lot of motorcycles are revving their engines. I want to step out of the way, show you. We've changed up our vantage point just a little bit. We are now on the lawn of the Benton County Courthouse, and the thing you are noticing now is the law enforcement. They have the guns that they've been using to disperse that tear gas. They are also wearing those gas masks. I mean, just seeing this image, we're, probably 15 feet away from them. It's eerie seeing all of this. And they're not the only law enforcement here. I know that we don't want to get too close to where they're at, but if we sort of pan to the right a little bit towards the square, this entire area is full of law enforcement, all of them either wearing gas masks or wearing body armor, just making sure they are prepared if they need to move in a little bit more. Now, one thing I'm going to have us do, Kelsey, if you're going to kind of turn this way with me, I want to show you the opposite of what we're seeing. As Craig mentioned, a lot of that crowd did finally disperse. You're seeing chunks of protesters still here across the street. What's interesting, as these cars continue to drive by here on Central, we're hearing a lot of glass cracking. It almost sounded like things were being thrown for a while, but right now, every time a car drives by, it just sounds like glass is cracking. So that is the scene for right now, vastly different from even 5 minutes ago where a lot of people have left. Things are actually getting pretty quiet here on the Bentonville Square. When just a few minutes ago, things were really loud. We were hearing that loudspeaker, some pops and snaps of different explosives, potentially like those fireworks going off. Now it's quiet. So I want to once again show you the image here, this startling image of the law enforcement in their masks, prepared if they need to make a move. Craig, this is the image that we're seeing here. Figure I'll send it back to you. Maybe we can check out Emma's vantage point again.
I mean, I think the picture...
We happen to be right in front of the Bentonville Square, and just as you started talking, Emma, all of these law enforcement officers from the different agencies have started walking over here. It looks like they are taking the steps again. And again, we are seeing law enforcement officers from every agency, the Benton County Sheriff's Office, Bentonville Police. I've seen some Lowell police officers. A lot of them are now taking off their riot gear. I'm going to pull our photojournalist Kelsey Jacobson back just a little bit so we get out of the way. A very different scene than what we had just seen 10, 15 minutes ago. So as of right now, from our vantage point here on the square, where Kelsey, I'm going to pull you this way a little bit so we're out of the way. From what we can see, we do not see any more protesters. We are only seeing law enforcement officers. Again, a lot of them have now begun to take off some of their riot gear. A lot of them have taken to the steps once more. It's an interesting angle where we are because we are behind law enforcement right now. So I'm just gonna let Kelsey show you the scene here. There are still a few protesters in the background across the street.
It's a good thing, Jamie, that one good thing about being in our area is that I'm sure some
these law enforcement officers, we walked across the street just so you can see the magnitude of officers here. Again, as we mentioned minutes ago, you're seeing law enforcement officers from so many different agencies here. So I want to let Kelsey just sort of pan side to side and show you the depth of people here. We can see Arkansas State Police troopers. We're seeing Benton County Sheriff's offices. We had mentioned some of those local police departments are here. And one thing I do want to show you, which I find a little unique here. So this is the area where, if you were watching our newscast earlier, there was a lot of tension here. The protesters were standing on this side. Law enforcement were standing over here. I don't want to stand in the street too long, but I do want to point out some of the things you're seeing in the road. You see a little bit of residue here. If we also kind of motion over to the orange area, some glass. And I don't know if we knew this earlier, but a lot of the roads have been blocked off. That way cars cannot get through. But once again, I want to let Kelsey just show you the scene. And it looks like some officers are actually leaving now. But I just want to let Kelsey show you what we're seeing here with the officers. Again, you are hearing a lot of noises from the debris on the ground. It looks like there's a lot of glass. I don't know if you can really see it here, but this whole section, very shiny, a lot of glass there. We don't want to get too close. And the other thing, I don't know if we've had a vantage point this close earlier, but when you're looking at these officers that have the riot gear on, you're seeing the helmets, you're seeing bats. It's
Jamie's
well,
Craig.
the other thing I want to point out, yes, Craig.
I was just wondering, do you see the chief or maybe the sheriff anywhere there that we can interview right now?
You know, I am looking right now in the crowd. I don't see him this minute.
With who?
You were hearing, we just heard from the Bentonville police car. If you are not leaving, then you could get arrested. Craig, we're going to send things back to you.
Okay, Jamie. I understand we have, I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry.